stress adaptation. Let's just go through the fundamentals of this. We've got performance. This could be physiological capability on the vertical axis, negative to positive. And then we've got time, over time, in response to that flash on screen. And that flash is the training stimulus. That serves as a stressor. So your performance or your physiological capability goes down once you've exercised. You are not fitter after a marathon. You're tired. Your body is stressed. Over time, though, your body will return or restore your physiological function or your performance back to baseline. And then it will say, okay, well, if you're going to do that again, I'm going to put things in place, which means that you're going to be fitter. So your performance or your physiological function goes up. And then if you don't do it again, the body says, well, I'm not going to hang on to all of that stuff. I'm going to let that go and deteriorate. We can reabsorb some of those proteins and use them elsewhere. And so you detrain. And that's the normal response to a training stimulus, improvements in fitness, and detraining. Now, if you train at the top there, at the peak, you're going to be in a position where you can catch the next wave of opportunity. So you then improve your fitness again and again, and your fitness starts to climb. Equally, if you push too early, if you train too early or too intensely, you haven't allowed full restoration and recovery, then the body doesn't get time to make that adaptation. And it starts to go under, it starts to be suppressed. And so physiological function goes downward. Equally, if you catch it whilst it's just about recovered, and then it starts to come back up again, and you start to push it a little bit too conveniently before it starts to recover again and again, then there's an opportunity, if you alleviate some of those stresses, if you give it time and space to recover, that you get an overshoot. You get an increase in physiological function because it's push down in a systematic way, and then it's kind of released. So we know that the red is a training effect, a normal training effect of catching the stimulus at its zenith and starting to increase the stimulus over time. Overreaching is what we would call the blue section, where we're pushing it a bit too hard, and then we're actually allowing it to adapt with supercompensation. Now, the grey version is several different terms for this. Overtraining. For a period of time, it was called under-recovery. For a time, it was called unexplained underperformance syndrome, which is basically sort of saying we don't know what it's called. And so we're just going to give it a vague term. I think overtraining is what we're most familiar with. But it's not just the training, it's the lack of recovery or burnout, where people are being worn down. And here what we've got to be thinking about is maximum adaptation and not necessarily a focus on maximum training. So many people carry reputations for amazing training programs, but their athletes don't get fit. They don't improve. They don't change their performance standards. And to me, this is a paradigm shift. We've got to be the guardians of this as physiologists. This is an opportunity for you to make sure that the athletes that you're working with are improving, not just doing more.